If you've got a PlayStation 4, there are all kinds of delightful little indie games and experimental projects that have a habit of disappearing from the public eye very quickly after being released. This irregular series of videos that I do looks at some of those hidden gems on the console, and this week I'm going to be taking a look at a title called Alchemic Jousts. Now, in simple terms, Alchemic Jousts is an autoplay strategy game. You wait for timers to tick down, at which point you can summon a character who will automatically travel towards their opponent's base until they either do damage to the base or are stopped. As you can see from the video footage, it is an entirely 2D game, and on the surface it's quite simple. But there's a deck building side to Alchemic Jousts which really gives the game a sense of long-term value and really makes for an interesting little strategy game. You'll start out by having access to units built out of the four main elements, those elements being earth, water, fire and air. By fighting in bouts, however, you can earn what are called alchemic points, which you can then use to mix two elements together and create something new. So for example, if you want to combine earth and fire, you get a magma element, and you can then use that element in battle, and it will either be more powerful than the base elements, or add something new to the battlefield, some kind of effect that boosts other units that you might have on the field, or hinders your opponent in some way. You can then combine the new creations that you've got, such as the little magma fella that you just made, and create even more complex things, and so on and so forth. Not every attempt at combination will work, but there are over 180 of these things to unlock, and that's an awful lot, and that means you will be doing an awful lot of combining. And that's where the game's real strategy comes in. On the battlefield itself, it might be quite simple in that you're just summoning things as quickly as you can, but you have very limited numbers in terms of the number of units that you can take into battle, so having a good blend of unit types and special abilities and so on is really important so that you can counter your opponent while also give you plenty of offensive ammunition. Now, I'm a real die-in-the-mud strategy game fan, so I was always going to find this appealing, I suspect. But it's also a really charming game too, and it was that charm that initially pulled me in. The units and the environments are quite simple, but they're so enjoyably bright and colourful that it's kind of irresistible. The units also make these cute little noises as they jump onto the battlefield and roam around, which is very appealing. There's plenty of variety in the levels too, with some being an all-out war until one side's castle is destroyed, while others being something more like a capture the flag situation or territory control. These things don't do a huge amount to break up the gameplay. They're effectively much of a muchness, but they do require slight tweaks in strategy, I guess, and they are a different way of looking at the battlefield, and it's just enough to keep the game feeling fresh and original. As you can probably imagine, given that there are so many different units and such to unlock, there's a lot of raw content in Alchemic Jousts as well. It's presented a little bit like a mobile game, where you simply pick the next level from a menu, and there's no real effort at the story mode. Or indeed, there's no real effort to link levels together into some kind of cohesive campaign. They're all separate levels that you just play one after another. But it doesn't really need any of that story stuff either, because this is obviously a very casual, easy, plain, relaxing game. It's not designed to be intense, it's not designed to make you sweat, it's not designed to be something hardcore. There's plenty of other options for that. This one is definitely designed to be just something you play for fun, and it's built appropriately around that. There is some multiplayer though, which does add a competitive element to the game, and if you're anything like me and my friends, you can get very competitive with stuff like this because it's so nicely balanced that the multiplayer really works and it clicks, and you play individual matches, so you don't need the story in the first place, and I guess it wouldn't be right to call it hardcore, but it's certainly it has the right elements to work as a competitive experience. And again, I have to re-emphasize that the balance in this game is really good. Whether you're playing against the AI or you're playing against another person, there's a real sense that it's a very finely tuned game, and it's a game in which, as simple as it is, the best strategy will still win out in the end. Alchemic Jousts is the kind of game that's very easy to overlook because it has that casual perception about it, but it really shouldn't be something that you overlook. Whether you're a fan of strategy games or not, to be honest, it's something that just about everybody can kind of enjoy. So far from being a strategy game exclusively for genre fans as the more hardcore examples are, this is the kind of thing that anybody can pick up and enjoy, and it's free of the ugly microtransactions and other nonsense that lets down the casual orientated strategy games that are thrown on mobile devices, which are often very appealing little games, but the free-to-play stuff really ruins them. So this game doesn't have that, which is another great thing indeed. I wholeheartedly recommend this game. Like I said, this is one of the missed gems, I guess, on the PlayStation. You probably didn't know it was there if you didn't see it when it was originally released, and there wasn't a huge amount of buzz that went around with it. And it was pretty quickly forgotten, unfortunately, afterwards, but it's definitely one well worth looking into. Very enjoyable little game, and definitely jump on the PSN and check it out. Thank you very much for watching this video. Hope it was interesting. Hope you're enjoying this little series. I know I don't do as many of them as I should. In fact, this is only the second one in about 4 months or so, but I will be trying to pick up and do more of these because there are a lot of hidden gems on the PS4, and there's an awful lot of trash to wade through to get to them. So I'm going to do my best to get through that trash and find the good ones, and yeah, hopefully the next video won't be 4 months away. Thanks very much for watching, and we will see you at the next one.